News, sponsored by Wheeler Health's Better Choice program. More at wheelerhealth.org.
Helping you lead a healthier life. This is Kara's Cures.
Hi everyone, I'm Kara Sundlin, and this is where we explore the cutting edge of wellness from credible sources. There's a new trend going on where people are deciding not to drink. And in fact, as many as 1 in 4 Americans are planning to join Sober October, with Gen Z and millennials leading the way. And in this edition of Kara's Cures, we're going to show you how you can actually make this a fun time, maybe with some mocktails that actually boost your health and your fertility if you're trying to conceive. This one's perfect for Halloween. Rachel Swanson is a nutritionist and author of a new book. It's called Trying, and that is a science-backed plan to optimize your fertility that features breakthroughs and strategies from more than 400 medical studies that can increase conception rates by addressing the root causes, not just the symptoms. So I'm thrilled to have Rachel with us today. Rachel, thank you for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You know, some people, if they haven't heard about this, they might be surprised to hear that Gen Z and millennials are kind of not drinking as much anymore. In fact, maybe not at all.
Yeah, they're kind of leading the way, right? And hey, I'm all for it. They could teach us a thing or two, especially when it comes to alcohol consumption and what we can do that's better for our bodies.
Yeah, and I know your background is in nutrition and the science behind it. So many of us are looking for ways to lead an optimally healthy life. And certainly for fertility, we're going to dive into your new book, Trying, about why that really matters. But let's start about the basics. A lot of people have heard for years, oh, a drink a day, it actually could be good for you. And now the science is pretty clear that that's not the case and that alcohol can be really damaging in a lot of ways. Can you walk us through how it could be hurting us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's interesting, right? Because the international recommendations, the national recommendations, basically guidelines set out by different academies. It all used to be about, for men, don't drink above 2 drinks per day. That was okay. And for women, it was 1 drink per day. But now these recommendations are very much shifting because we're beginning to see, to your point, that when it comes to alcohol, there's really no safe amount. There's no protective amount, rather. So this is very much kind of unwinding itself in terms of how can we optimize our body instead of, how much can we get away with?
Yeah, I mean, people for years have been drinking maybe a glass of red wine every night thinking it was good for their heart. And when you talk about new science or what it's revealing, what is damaging about alcohol, especially even if you're drinking a little bit, but every day?
Yeah, so well, to your point, the evidence that shows that it was beneficial in the first place, that's largely debatable now. These were studies that didn't take into consideration these confounding variables. So now we're beginning to see how really no amount is a good amount. And so when it comes to the mechanism of why this is actually happening, the breakdown process of alcohol when you drink, that converts to a toxic byproduct of alcohol, and that is what can damage cells in our body. This can induce inflammation and oxidative stress. And so everything else that we're probably about to talk about today makes sense, right? Because if you have that kind of bubbling up in your body, right? This concoction of like the inflammation, oxidative stress, cellular damage, it can have a downstream impact on any organ in your body and any cellular process. That's why, when it comes to neuroinflammation or, effects on the liver or effects on breast cancer, right? It's kind of like name your cancer. It probably has an effect, but I say that because, again, it's all leading back to that mechanism of action taking place.
Yeah, and so inflammation is the root of it all, right? So especially when it comes to fertility, you wrote a new book, Trying. Can you tell me what prompted you to write this book and what people can learn from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So what prompted me to write this book, Kara, is, I was working with really brilliant, very successful women in practice. Like, they're conquering boardrooms, they're building companies, but at the end of the day, they were struggling to get pregnant. And so I wanted to understand sort of why that was and give them better advice. They were coming to me with their doctor saying, just relax or track your cycles, or they would give them generic information, right? Maybe follow a Mediterranean diet, and this wasn't personalized to them. So I took a step back to look at sort of first principles, meaning what can we deconstruct? Like, what are the root causes that we can leverage in our favor to shift how our entire body is functioning? And I just applied that to fertility.
Yeah, and so when you decide to stop drinking for even 1 month, perhaps with Sober October, is there a big change in our bodies?
So when it comes, in terms of with alcohol, the risks are dose dependent and linear. So essentially, the more you drink, the worse it is. And so when it comes to abstaining for even a month, think about how much less cellular damage that you're causing, right? Especially when it comes to individuals who are trying to conceive. I really think about how is this optimizing egg and sperm quality? I mean, this is necessary if you're trying to conceive. And I do wish that, alcohol, we all know the bottles that have the warning for pregnant women, right? Mm-hmm. I wish it also said that for, couples who are looking to conceive, because we know the downstream effects of that. And more data is mounting in terms of how it impacts egg quality, sperm quality, odds of conceiving, live birth, right? So on and so forth.
Yeah. Let's talk about the odds of conceiving. I mean, when you're dealing with infertility, it's so difficult. And I can so understand what you're saying. So many friends who've struggled, and whether, you're trying and it's not working and you lead to IVF, or you wonder, is it something in your body or something in his body? You're not simplistically saying just stop drinking and you're going to conceive, but that there's a lot of science behind that. If you are drinking on a regular basis, you're not optimizing your chances of conceiving, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. So again, I guess just as an anchor point, I know even some doctors, they take a more relaxed approach, right? It's like, we can't optimize things like age, for example. We can't optimize a lot of things when it comes to wanting to get pregnant. However, we're all about optimizing diet and lifestyle in any way we can to increase our chances of conception. And when we do that, we not only optimize our chances, we're also going to set up that couple and that woman for success once she does become pregnant. And that will also set up for success, after postpartum as well. And so again, we're looking at this with a very different view and a very, very different perspective about not how much can we get away with. This is about what can we leverage in our favor that's going to help allow, our body to function as it's intelligently designed to do.
So for folks who are sober curious, what do they tell you? Do they find it difficult to just not drink anymore?
Usually when these are a couple who are looking to conceive, what I've found in practice that they do not find it difficult because they have this goal that's motivating them to strip out habits and behaviors that may have, that are just no longer serving them. And I find that really, really optimistic. And I actually, too, was surprised. I thought that this would be a little bit harder. But for other individuals kind of outside the realm of fertility, look, for every single individual, it's a little bit different of why they're drinking, and so we take this on a personal basis, right? Like why are they drinking, and what circumstances? How can we replace this with non-toxic alternatives? How can we really dig into their lifestyle and figure out something else that works for them?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're going to show us a great mocktail too, and I love that more restaurants are showing mocktails or having mocktails, because I'm not a huge drinker, but I do notice if I'm out socially, when they come around with wine, even if I don't really want it, because I know, now that us women who are above 40, choosing to drink wine means you're probably not going to sleep very well. So that's a whole nother shift when you're past trying to have a...
Oh, exactly right. I'm glad you mentioned this.
So, I'm thinking, this doesn't really work for me. I'm not that excited about it. I'd rather not, but... Socially, when when you're at a dinner or something, they're like, here, would you like red or white? It seems easier to just say, I'll take red, and then not drink too much or something, rather than, I think some people are wondering, what do I say instead, or how do I ask for something different and still feel celebratory?
Yeah, so there's so many different approaches. I actually really like what you mentioned because that does work for a handful of my clients. Again, not individuals who are trying to conceive because we are looking to remove that to abstain about 3 months prior, but really for everyone else, the social aspect. Yeah, let's definitely dig into that. So one of the strategies that we can do, and that's very, very successful, is some of my clients who absolutely have to go out to these dinners for their clients. They can just order, they have a glass. They literally, Kara, take like 1 or 2 sips. It's literally just to order it. So yes, is this wasteful? Absolutely. But again, that's a strategy that works phenomenally well for some. Other people who are really, really uncomfortable with the idea of not having a drink completely, I tell them, hey, you can always kind of blame it on GI distress. No one is going to ask about stomach problems, right? At the dinner table.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's you like that one. I know it, but it's true. There's others, right? I have individuals who say are drinking to at least slow the pace that they're drinking, decrease their drinks by 1, space it out, have an entire glass of water in between. I mean, there are endless strategies. It really just comes down to, is someone motivated to make a change to their baseline habits?
Yeah, this is probably a good time for us to show that you can actually have a drink instead that would optimize your health. So you've created a whole bunch of mocktails. We're only going to show one today. This one's Halloween themed because at the time of this, we're in sober October and we're in October. So you have this, show us what you would do if you wanted to make a drink instead that feels festive, but actually packs a punch in a positive way.
Oh, this is so festive. You're gonna love this for Halloween. So I just made this morning. This is our green goblet.
Okay.
If you can see that. And the reason why I love this is because, of course, the color, it's perfect for Halloween, but the mouthfeel is so addictive too. It's like drinking boba tea. That's why this one is so fun. You can drink it warm. You can drink it poured over ice. It's endlessly adaptable. It's ridiculously simple to make. Would you like me to go through some of the ingredients?
Yes, please.
All right, perfect. Well, I guess to set the stage, you know that most holiday cocktails, they have so much added sugar. So it's not just the alcohol that people are eliminating with these healthier alternatives. So we're going to make something that actually benefits gut health. I have about a tablespoon of chia seeds here. Today I'm using basil seeds, which still gives that delightfully chewy texture that you know and love from boba tea. Then I'm going to add that festive color, green. This is matcha green tea. The reason why I'm using this is because that's your green goblet.
That's amazing. Okay, so now let me ask you, what does that taste like? Because there's nothing sweet in there, and I'm a big green tea drinker, but sometimes matcha by itself, like what's the best way to do this so that it tastes good too?
Oh, yeah. So I actually add a little bit of unsweetened almond milk. You can also do some unsweetened almond milk creamer as long as it's clean. So meaning no additional ingredients in there, like all these gums and fillers and oil. So if you can find a clean one, that is perfect. And that's exactly what I use. It gives it that, again, like that milky consistency, kind of like a boba tea that you're drinking.
Yeah, and then of course, if you're making a mocktail and maybe you're going to do a berry one or this, you can always put healthy like spices. Any kind of spice could be good, right? Like whether you want to sprinkle some cinnamon or I think of that when I go even just to a coffee shop. I don't like the syrups; they always give me a headache. But just putting like if you're trying to optimize your health, just opting for some spice, some cardamom or some cinnamon or something like that, rather than a syrup that you don't know what's in it.
Totally. And this gives you like that seasonal comfort that we all desire and that we love. But, the spices, and you probably already know this, Carol, but that actually gives you polyphenols as well, which is great for your gut microbiome.
Yeah.
These are antioxidant-like compounds. And so you're getting that seasonal spice using herbs and spices, but you're also getting beneficial compounds, which is a double hitter. And that's great. And yes, that's an excellent strategy overall for the holidays and mean, I wish you were over here right now where I live, because we could make, 10 different ones together. And yes, they all use kind of herbs, spices. If you like cold drinks, use sparkling, unsweetened sparkling water, use your citruses. There's endless ways to dress it up with herbs and spices.
A lot of these, what about some of these mocktails that people see at restaurants? If you're trying to do the sober October, I know there's no alcohol, but if you're worried about the other sugars and things, you find that maybe they tend to be quite sweet or have a lot of, they're almost like desserts, right? They could be quite caloric or have a lot of stuff in them.
This is, okay, Kara, I'm so glad you brought this up. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes, if you will, that I see, or myths rather, that I'd like to bust. It's that mocktails, aren't always the healthier choice. I see this all the time. Even some friends, they are ordering a mocktail thinking that it's healthier because there's no alcohol, but that thing is loaded with added sugar. And so I do want to call that out. I mean, and you can tell based off of the ingredient list. So if the whole thing is juice, if it says simple syrup is being added, you can simply ask, the waiter or the waitress to, hold the simple syrup, or, hey, can you do a splash of this grapefruit juice instead of the whole glass? There are so many simple ways. And I know that sounds, like such a small deal when you're ordering out. But again, think about the compounded effects this has over time, over, say, the whole month of October. That's also a lot of added sugar that you can save yourself.
Yeah, and save it for maybe you want dessert instead. But, let me...
Exactly right. Checks and balances.
So when you're talking about infertility or fertility issues for men and women, this abstaining from alcohol, you think, is just as important for the man?
Yes, absolutely. And they've shown that. So what's interesting is the studies are now showing that the paternal abstinence is just as important, because again, that can damage sperm quality. And it's also been shown that his drinking behaviors can lower the odds of conceiving on any given month, which again is very, very surprising. And that's relatively new data as well.
Okay, so what's the conversation that you suggest couples have? Like, I'm imagining a female listening to this right now and go, okay, fine, I'll stop drinking, but I don't know if he's going to listen to me. Or how do you coach your clients? Are there any statistics that could really motivate, like, this much better shot of conceiving?
Yeah, so in terms of, so what's interesting, here's what I found most effective in practice for the men. I know this is crazy, at least for me, which, who's all about the research and stats. The men don't really seem driven by stats. However, they are driven when you're just like, hey, if you're drinking X amount per week, let's just start by cutting that in half, right? So really just a tangible difference makes all the difference. And then we go down from there. So that's more like on the clinical side. In terms of just their attitude and belief, what I found in practice, again, if a man knows that he can potentially impact the health of his partner's pregnancy and potentially impact the health of his child before they even conceive, I found most men to be quite motivated to make changes.
Okay. And I want to take a moment, hear from one of our sponsors. And I want to come back because another big issue, I know fertility is one of them, but another big issue women have is weight gain. And so why maybe eliminating alcohol could help your metabolism as well. So let's listen to one of our sponsors.
Struggling with gambling? Wheeler Health's Better Choice program offers personalized support and treatment to help you regain control. Visit WheelerHealth.org to learn more and take the first step towards recovery today.
I'm here with Rachel Swanson, and she's a nutritionist and author of a new book called Trying. It's a science-backed plan to optimize your fertility. Let's see if we can show folks the cover. There it is. So this is it's Pregnancy Unlocked, and there's more than 400 medical studies about increasing conception rates by addressing the root causes and not just the symptoms. That's one of the many reasons people are deciding to do Sober October, where as many as 1 in 4 Americans are joining. So, Rachel, I wanted to come back and talk about weight gain, which could be an issue. We know obesity is hurting conception for some folks, but it's a big problem in America. And especially women are worried about the weight that they're gaining, especially after a certain age. How much does alcohol play a role in that weight gain?
Well, it certainly depends on how much that individual is drinking, but I will say, with alcohol, this is 7 kilocalories per gram, whereas carbs are 4. Dietary fat is 9 kilocalories per gram. So these 7 kilocalories per gram, these are essentially empty calories. Like your body isn't using that in any beneficial way. It's just looking to kind of detoxify that extra energy. So if you have a goal of, optimizing your energy balance for the goal of weight loss, that's one of the first things and one of the easiest things that you can remove from your diet in order to optimize for that goal.
Yeah, so even if you're getting a quote unquote skinny cocktail, like some people say, well, I'm just getting tequila and soda and lime.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's, of course, going to be one step better by far. If someone's going to order a cocktail, then yes, because what that does, again, it doesn't change the alcohol content and the calories from alcohol, but that will change, the amount of simple syrup and sugar being added, which adds additional calories. So there's definitely a skinny version to be had of really any drink, of any mocktail, right? Of any cocktail, of really anything. So it's about kind of choosing that, like, how can you think of changing this or bettering it even 1%? That's going to make a difference over time.
Also, what about our livers, right? A lot of people are doing detoxes now. They're talking about fatty liver. They're talking about how the liver plays a role, that it's not just calories in, calories out, that whatever's going on, how well you filter things could really affect how much weight you gain. And I think people feel that as they get a little older. So alcohol is, no ifs, ands, or buts, it's a toxin, so your liver's gonna have to work hard. And does that affect how you're gonna metabolize food?
This is absolutely a toxin. And by the way, that is number one, that is not fear mongering. Number two, that's not, meaning to cast blame or regret on someone who does choose to drink and does, choose to have sort of the occasional cocktail. However, let's call a spade, right? It is a toxin. And once you drink it, your body basically has to shunt other metabolic processes to quickly detoxify this compound, so then it doesn't, cause more damage than it already does. And yes, we can certainly thank our liver for helping us with that. But again, it's not, think about all the other jobs it's not doing if we're pouring alcohol in the system for it to, reroute all these important functions to instead detoxify this compound.
Okay, so you also, back to when you were making the mocktail, you were putting things in that can help. And whether you're making a quote unquote mocktail or a healthy smoothie, what are some of the things that we can be adding to our drinks to optimize health and fertility specifically?
Yeah, so these green goblets were a perfect example. So I use this as an opportunity to be like, Kara, like, these are like vessels of health. Like, this is a vessel of like putting all of these healthy ingredients in, right? That can work for our body in many different ways. So one of the ingredients that I added was the chia seeds to add the fiber, right? You can add other sort of little micro doses of fiber to a drink. You can add, some clients, are really loving these days, adding even like a scoop of protein powder or collagen powder and mixing that up and dissolving it, which is kind of fun as well. Then it's to what we spoke about earlier, the herbs and spices. These are polyphenols. These are antioxidant compounds that our gut microbiome loves too. And the reason why I keep going back to the gut microbiome, just to make this clear connection, is, when our gut microbes are happy and our gut lining is intact, this impacts the amount of circulating inflammation in our bodies. This impacts circulating hormones, right? And oxidative stress. All of these things, yes, can tie into fertility, but they can tie into any health goal that you have or that you're working towards.
Okay, so this is important. People get overwhelmed, but I love how you talk about, as we come to the end of our time together, even reduction can make a difference. The harm reduction. Hopefully you're not drinking several drinks a day, but if you are, then cutting back. Or if you're always drinking, maybe you say, I'm just going to have a couple drinks on the weekend and not Monday through Friday. I mean, any level then can move you in the right direction and start making some clinical differences?
Yes, absolutely. Just think, I'll give you one of the easiest examples that I think we'll all know about what I'm about to say. It's very intuitive, but just think about how that impacts your sleep quality. And when you impact this flywheel of sleep, then all of a sudden you feel better the next day. You have more energy to work out and get through your to-do list, right? You're in a better mental state. So this is really about kind of, improving that entire flywheel of life. And this is just for sleep, which then led back to how much alcohol that we drank the night before. And yes, absolutely. So just think about one thing of your current habits around alcohol that you can do differently. It's interesting of the example that you just provided, because that is one of the examples I worked with a client on just literally a few days ago, which is, hey, let's just not drink Monday through Friday and have one drink on Saturday and one drink on Sunday. Like, that was an excellent place to start. It was even a little challenging, which is like the perfect sweet spot for that client.
Well, and sometimes substituting, and I'll just let you know, we got about 2 minutes before the end of the show, but people miss that glass of wine after a very stressful day, right? You're talking about your clients in boardrooms and this. But having instead, and this is something I do in my own life, is I sip green tea all day because it makes me feel cozy. But at night, I really love my nighty-night tea, which helps me sleep. So the idea that people could still look forward to something that is like a reward for a hard day's work. Maybe it's warm almond milk and cinnamon and a little bit of honey, or like warm tea or something nurturing that isn't wine.
Yes, exactly. And to that point, and I know we'll end on this point, but really this is about finding a new ritual that you love, right? The wine, the alcohol, this is a ritual. If you replace that with a better one, whether that's a warm, soothing drink, a nighty-night tea, any of these options is perfect. And you will start to no longer miss that glass of wine because you have received all these other health benefits in its place.
Yeah, and that's so important to say. Yeah, it is our ritual, right? We all have these routines. So just adding the reverse of any bad habit could be a good one. So Rachel Swanson, thank you for being with us. Rachel is a registered dietitian and a nutritionist. She's the author of the book Trying, and just want to let everyone know that they can shout out real quick where they can get in touch with you, Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely. My website, rachelswanson.com, or my social media, Rachel's RX on Instagram.
Okay, and the book is available anywhere books are sold right now?
Anywhere books are sold.
Okay, great. So there's some great strategies. Thanks for being with us, Rachel, and thanks everyone for watching Kara's Cures. Have a great day and be well.
CUERS is sponsored by Wheeler Health's Better Choice program. More at wheelerhealth.org.